Are Hindus failing Hinduism? For more than a century now, there has been a discussion among Hindus that Hinduism is treated as a second-class religion, while Islam and Christianity are treated a lot better by the politicians and government establishments. It has become a rhetorical argument on social media platforms such as Twitter over the last decade. The right-wing people do not fail to point out the brazen partiality and vilification by the opposite camp that deliberately slights the practices of Hindu customs and festivals. On the other hand, Islamic and Christian religious occasions are patronized by almost everyone in the establishment. This preferential treatment meted out to one religion over the other leads us to wonder, why do the political class, bureaucracy, journalists, and the law enforcement agencies behave so? Let us start with the convictions of those following the Islamic and Christian belief system. Come what may, the Muslims and Christians have dedicated a certain number of hours in a week to their religious activities. Muslims must get together and offer prayers at least on Fridays, if not on the other days. A full month of fasting and prayers each year is seen as an opportunity to get together to reinforce their commitment to their belief system. Millions of individuals with similar ideological convictions aligned together is certainly a kinetic force. Christians, on the other hand, must congregate every Sunday in their local church for similar engagements. People coming together in every locality at least once every week for religious reasons form a certain vote bank for the political parties that are ready to lap them up. Hindus, though seen as a homogeneous religious group, are weak due to their non-commitment to religious principles. An average Hindu is interested in Bollywood and in what is passed off as science by the Western world than in their own Vedic scriptures. Only a negligible number of Hindus are familiar with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita when compared to Christians and Muslims who know about their own scriptures. Even Hindus of today who are descending in the lineage of the powerful rishis and sages of the previous centuries have largely forgotten their spiritual roots. One develops attachment to the principles of religion only when he or she is following them in their day-to-day life. Daily habits of an individual are what determines one's identity. Hence, if one keeps watching movies regularly, that's what one identifies with. If one follows a religious principle such as chanting a mantra regularly, one will develop a sense of identity and attachment for it. This is the fundamental point that is missing in the lives of modern-day Hindus. It's normal and natural for a young Muslim or Christian to hold and read their scriptures or perform their regular prayers. None of their own will make fun of them for doing so. But when a young Hindu man or woman reads the Bhagavad Gita or visits the temple regularly, their very friends and relatives will begin to tease them and consider such practices abnormal. All Hindus, regardless of the differences in caste, geography, and language, can trace their identity to certain spiritual practices that were followed by their immediate ancestry. Due to the influence of time and the compulsions of modern lifestyles, people have neglected the powerful spiritual practices that defined the lives of their forefathers. In this connection, there is an interesting story narrated by Srila Prabhupada that many of us can easily relate to. There was once a factory in India where all the workers were Hindus and mostly Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas had freedom, therefore, to wear their Vaishnava tilak to work, and they also displayed other Vaishnava paraphernalia. After some time, however, the factory went to a new management and the new proprietor was a Muslim. On taking over the business, the Muslim owner declared that he would no longer allow the workers to come to work wearing Vaishnava tilak. Most of the workers obeyed, and on the given date announced by the owner, they appeared at the factory without their tilak. One employee, however, thought that he would take his chances and depend on Lord Krishna, so he went to work wearing a very clear white Vaishnava tilak. After seeing all the workers assembled, the new Muslim proprietor said, "This one devotee who has worn Vaishnava tilak is very courageous. He may be permitted to continue wearing the tilak to work, but all others are forbidden to wear it anymore." The courageous devotee in this story can be considered a disciplined practitioner. Such a person is understood to be following his daily principles of sadhana, such as chanting the names of Lord Krishna a fixed number of times. His courage and conviction to wear tilak to work is derived from his sadhana. People may not be impressed by your beliefs, but people will respect your conviction in your beliefs. Coming to the larger picture, we can do a huge favor to Hinduism by simply practicing certain principles of daily sadhana in our own lives. Merely trying to voice support for Hinduism over social media platforms with no groundwork in our life appears hollow and cacophonous. Every village in India has at least one temple, either big or small, which should be at least several decades or centuries old. These temples were built by our wise ancestors for this following reason: to enable people to congregate so they have an opportunity to hear the teachings of the Vedic literatures, perform devotional services together by singing and chanting the holy names of Krishna, Rama, or Shiva. Reviving these practices in one's daily life may appear complex and sometimes daunting. One may not know what to practice and when to practice or whom to follow. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in the 15th century and whom the scriptures declare as God himself in the incarnation of a devotee, summarized the essence of all Vedic scriptures and practices in one simple but powerful mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Narada says, chanting this mantra is the sure shot way for success and spiritual realization in this age. Srila Prabhupada spread the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around the world by persuading his followers to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and follow the principles of devotion as enunciated by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Under Srila Prabhupada's direction and by his inspiration, his followers helped him open 108 centers of Vedic culture and devotion all over the world, printed and distributed millions of copies of Vedic literatures, all in a span of 11 years from 1966 to 1977. In spite of having no Vedic cultural background, the hearts of the Western followers of Srila Prabhupada were quickly cleansed and they developed the courage and conviction to pioneer the Hare Krishna movement in the major cities of the world. This was possible simply because his followers took to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra seriously. Amazingly, several Indians have become inspired by the conviction and devotion of these Western devotees. Hindus, what are you waiting for? Come, let's revive Sanatana Dharma. Start chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra today. Make it a practice to chant a minimum of 108 times every day. Hare Krishna.